Welcome to the podcast Life After Addiction and Indictment. I'm your host, Steve Cloward, and I spent most of the last decade and well over $100,000 on coaches, consultants, masterminds, and events trying to figure out how to reclaim my life again. On this podcast, I'm going to share the tools, the tips, the tricks, and the hacks that allowed me to forgive myself so that I could reclaim my life again. I'll be interviewing experts in mindset, leadership, entrepreneurship, sales, marketing, branding, and so much more. I'm glad you're here. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Let's go! This is Life After Addiction and Indictment.
Hey, welcome back to the show. This is Steve, your host of Life After Addiction and Indictment. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about social media. And the reason for that is I've been pretty involved in that over the years. And there was a short time that I, actually taught live events to realtors and wrote a couple of different ebooks and, understand how to leverage it to generate leads and to get yourself out there seen and with some consistency to help you build your business. And there's one thing that is a huge pet peeve of mine, and that's what made me think about talking about that today, because it's happened twice now in the last 3 days, and it's something I just honestly cannot stand. And I believe most people feel the same way. And that is when somebody tries to connect with you, whether it be on LinkedIn or Facebook, say you accept a friend request, or say you don't, and somebody just flat out shoots you a direct message. And that direct message has nothing to do with you. It doesn't say anything about you, really, doesn't talk about you, doesn't ask. Basically, they show no interest in you. It's 100% focused on them. And that is something, like I said, that just drives me nuts, because it shows me that they only look at me, they only value me as basically money to them. Where if they valued the person, if they valued relationships, if they valued network, they would have a ton more success, and they wouldn't have to waste time sending a whole bunch of DMs that are basically spam. That's all it is. It's no different than email spam. It's just DM spam. And I think that's personally a lot worse. And I want to go over one of these just so I can tell you how this engagement went. And to me, it was really pathetic, frankly. And so I wanted to go over it. And then I want to talk about ways that you can do this that are effective, that have gotten me lots of leads over the years, and others that, followed this method. I've got, coaches that I've paid over the years to learn this stuff, and it definitely is valuable. So this is somebody who's got a decent following, like over 10,000. And I see that he starts following me a couple of weeks ago on Instagram. And then he says, hey, and I know of him. I don't know him personally. We have a lot of the same contacts in our circles. And, he used to be in an industry that I still have ownership of a business in the industry. And so when he reached out and said, hey, I thought, you know what, might as well connect with him. I've known him for a long time, know a lot of the guys he runs with. And so I said, hey, bro, what's up? Wanted to send you this message. Hope everything's going well. I said, I don't think we ever met, even though we've got a lot of the same people in our circles as friends. And I said, I'm always looking for great, badass guests, entrepreneurs to have on my podcast, Life After Addiction Indictment, to inspire and educate those who are stuck, maybe letting their past get in the way of their future, reclaim their life through entrepreneurship. Because I was a successful entrepreneur, very successful, prior to my crash and burn and my indictment and going to prison, which I've talked about in previous episodes. But I was the guy who, when I got out of prison, let my past get in the way of my future. I compared my past to where I was then and figured should be is what it is. I figured I should be back to where I was overnight and continue to let that get in the way from getting focused, putting in the work to get back to where I was. That never happened overnight. It just seemed like it once I was, years down the road from when that took place. But it took a lot of freaking hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of getting uncomfortable, getting out of my comfort zone. When you're building a business, what is it that you need? The most important thing that you need are customers, paying customers, which means you need leads. So when my dad sold this full service car wash, which I've talked about, that I ran for years. We turned it around, made it pretty successful. And then I was out of work. What was I going to do? So I got into real estate appraising and really focused in and really dialed that in and had a very, very large business that did very well, that allowed me to do other things that I've talked about. Anyways, oftentimes we get caught up in things that I call surface distraction. See, I'm not the personality type. I don't love to go out and network and meet new people. So I didn't want to go out and go hit up brokers, mortgage brokers or loan officers to get business, but that's what I needed to do if I wanted to have success as a real estate appraiser. And it was tough. And when I ran my dad's car wash for years, I met a lot of people, and that was a phenomenal asset that I pulled away from that. Was a lot of relationships, a lot of contacts. Well, there was one particular customer who always bought an annual pass from us. He always drove a Lexus, and I got to know him well. And I knew a lot of the people that he ran with. He's a little bit older than me, probably 6-8 years. But we ended up crossing paths a lot, and he was a mortgage broker. And I figured he was a guy that I could go to and get business, no problem, because we took great care of him. In fact, too good a care of him. To be honest, he was the type, when you play the numbers games, whether it's insurance, whether it's monthly recurring subscription stuff, or annual passes, that's what was the thing in the car wash industry, 18 to 20 years ago, probably even 10. The monthly memberships is really only the last 5 years or so that's kicked in, which is way better for the business than an annual pass, because we were only charging $300 for an annual pass back, 20 years ago. And he was the type that, you're playing the numbers, like I said. So if you sell 100 annual passes at $300, you get all that money once a year, and really the majority aren't going to come in more than once a week, maybe twice a month. Well, this particular guy that I'm referring to that always drove a Lexus, he came in, he was that type that got way more than his money's worth. And that's fine, because it offsets by those that don't come in that much. And he was in 2-3 times a week, literally. And so, like I said, I got to know him well. When I went to talk to him about getting business, he turned me down. Basically said, come back when you're certified, because when you first start out back in the day, it's changed, I think, a little now. I don't exactly know, even though my 2 brothers are still appraisers. You had to basically be a registered appraiser for 2 years, which means you had to have a certifier sign off on all your appraisals until you became certified after 2 years of experience. So he used that as the reason not to use me. But really what it came down to is he had his, the person he was using had a good relationship, which I understand. And that was a game also where, you want that appraiser to push and work hard for you to try to push those numbers to help you get the numbers and to do the loans with the percentages, loan to values that, you're trying to make happen. And so obviously he was getting what he needed for the most part. And I understand that. But the people that I did get business from, and the reason I was able to build a very successful appraisal firm, which ended up having 8 different appraisers and allowed me to basically walk away after about 5 or 6 years, other than, I managed it still and oversaw things financially. But I hired great people. And those are principles as well that are valuable in every business, is treat your people the way you'd want to be treated. Make sure they know they matter and are appreciated. And, don't, be generous, within reason. Obviously, you still have to provide and take care of your needs first. But anyway, so doing that forced me out of my comfort zone. But as I built that business basically, and really built it up to be something that did some serious numbers. We were doing between $1.5 million and $1.8 million a year in appraisals at $300 a pop. So that's a lot of appraisals. But it's because we gave phenomenal service. Now, that's not the topic I came to talk about today. And so I'm going to shift gears and get back to what we're talking about. And that is leads, and that is connecting with people. So I pushed myself to go out and beat those doors, even though that is not something I enjoy at all. And when you go to someone who that you're actually not too nervous going to talk to because you already have a relationship, and they turn you down, it feels like you get kicked in the gut. So we just kept at it. My brother was involved with me, and we just kept at it. And we started getting business. It was way out of town areas, but we'd take those because that's what it takes to not only prove yourself, but, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to understand that it is tough. Most people don't understand, they see successful business owners, entrepreneurs, they don't see what went in to the business to get to where they are. And would I ever get a job and trade it? Hell no, because I know what can happen if you build the systems and processes and have key people in positions. Then it allows you to do what I am an entrepreneur for, and that is to have time freedom to make a difference and help other people. See, I can't go out and help people if I'm stuck and chained to my job or to my business. So you got to be able to put people in place and process in place so that you can get out and have that free time. So as I got these DMs, I told you what I said, and then he says, "Oh, thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. How's it going? Hope you are well." And then a day later, I said, "It's going great. How about you?" Now, remember, in the first message, I hit him up about being on my podcast. Now, anybody, especially an entrepreneur, knows that any and all exposure is good exposure. And the best traffic you can get is siphoning traffic off other people's audiences. So I offered him to be on my podcast straight away because I knew, the value that it would give him as well. So it's not just me being selfish. It's me getting very successful entrepreneurs, and this guy does very well, on this podcast to share their story, to share the things that have helped them be successful, to inspire you, to help you believe that you can do it. You deserve it. You deserve all the success that this world has to offer. And that fear is the worst thing that holds all of us back. The only time that you're going to grow is when you're outside of your comfort zone. And so he doesn't say anything. He just hits, basically says, doesn't respond about the podcast at all. And then I responded, said, "It's going great. How about you?" I said, "If you're up to jumping on a podcast sometime, love to have you. You can book a time here." Drop my calendar link. Okay. Then he just says a couple of days later, "Very well here. Thanks. Have you currently got any investments yourself?" So this isn't the spam that I originally was talking about. I'll get to that one after this one. That one came in this morning. But as I read through this, you're going to see he doesn't really ever answer about the podcast. He's always coming back at me with the things he's interested in, pulling me to that are going to benefit him. Okay. Now, the more, quality guests I have on the show, of course, that builds my audience and benefits me. But it's nothing that I'm monetarily getting from him that I'm asking for. So, that's quite different. So I said, yes, I've got, went over some of the investments I have, a couple e-com stores and some rentals and things. And then he says, have you also thought about investing in crypto? So now he's shown me exactly why he followed me and reached out and said, hey, it was all about getting to try to see if he can pull me his way, as I mentioned. And so I said, yeah, I've had some crypto, recently just, I've been working with a guy named Michael Devlin, who's phenomenal. In fact, I should try to get him on the show. And then I said, have you thought about coming on my podcast at all to talk about entrepreneurship? Yeah, sure. That would mean making time from my schedule. Then he said right after that, first of all, that pissed me off. Like, duh. I mean, that's what it does take, of course, time. And that is our most valuable asset. I get that. But basically, he's saying, that's not valuable for my time, basically, is what he's saying. And he says, I'd love to see people who involve themselves with crypto as well. It's the future. Do you trade crypto or just buy and hold? So it's always coming back to him. He doesn't want to be on the podcast. And frankly, as I've dug into this, that's why I haven't talked about who he is or anything in detail, because I believe that this may be a fake account. Okay, there's two. I found both. There's one letter difference in spelling. And so I went back before I started this show today to check the other one because I messaged both at first. The other one now is deleted. So obviously, people have turned it in or he has, but not the one that, does have all his followers. So if it's a fake account, he wouldn't have 19,000 followers. Okay. Anyway, then I said, yeah, I do trade some crypto. I work with Michael Devlin, and he's like, that's good. And how's that going for you? And basically I just said, you know what, is this really your account? Sure doesn't seem like it. There was, like I said, because the way you're answering about my podcast, I can see you're only interested in trying to get me involved in whatever program you have to teach people crypto. And I don't need that because I'm already working with one of the baddest ass guys out there. And his track record speaks for itself. He has, anyway. So back to the spam. And I hope, I hope I didn't. Oh, here it is. I thought I erased it. Guys, like I said, I even have a funnel. And if you want to learn this, I'm going to go over a couple of things before I wrap it up. But this isn't to get you as a client. I'm not even teaching this stuff anymore, but you can get the free ebook I did create that goes over a lot of these strategies. And you can get that at socialmediamarketingmethods.com. That's socialmediamarketingmethods.com. So I get a message today, never met this guy or anything. And this is how a lot of people start out, whether it's on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Hey, Steve, how are you doing? Facebook recommended you as a friend. Hope you don't mind. I help network marketers generate targeted leads daily. Well, guess what? I'm not a network marketer. I don't have anything against them. I think it's a great industry. I love the business model, been involved in it in the past. But if somebody hasn't even checked out your profile to see what you do, which that's another piece of the whole puzzle that is addressed in that ebook, you have to make it very clear of what you do on your profile image. Okay, and not just your profile picture. I'm talking about your cover image. Okay, that's got to be clear about what you do, and mine's very clear. And anyway, he says you can generate engagement leads and referrals without creating ads or posting. The system does this for you. Would you be willing to test the software? Talk to you soon, Michael. Just type the word info and my messenger autoresponders will automatically magically send you some more info. See, that's pathetic because he's trying to impress people that he's got some phenomenal system. Okay. That's stuff it's not that hard at all to do. So he's doing two things. He's basically just spamming me. It's all about him. Who cares if Facebook recommended? Get to know someone. The way you do that and the way you're going to have success online, messaging people, is not hitting them up about anything. And I wouldn't suggest you even message them directly if you're trying to just get to know them. That's going to seem maybe a little odd. It depends on how good you are at the message you craft. If it's something that's, seems sincere and legit, fine. But really what you need to do is you need to engage with these people. Okay. You need to see their posts. Best place to do this in groups where your avatar, your ideal client hangs out. Be consistently, engaged in the group. Because what happens if people see you consistently engaging and providing value when you engage, not just likes, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about comments to people's posts and, giving them information that's valuable. So if it's your ideal customer, then you should have knowledge about the group they're in, the business, the things they're interested in, so that you can provide value through the knowledge you have about the industry you're in. And as people see that, they're going to go and check out your profile to learn about you. If you focus on people and not money, if you focus on people and not leads, the money and the leads will take care of themselves. That, my friends, will never change. So if you'll just do those simple things, and like I said, if you want to go get that ebook, great. There's not going to be any, I think there's still some emails following up, but there's no emails to pitch on anything. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even, if someone came to me right now and said, pay me $5,000 to consult them for social media, organic, marketing strategies, I wouldn't do it because I don't have the time or the desire at this point with what, I'm doing and what I'm focused on. But there's great methods in here that will teach you how to do these things. And some of them, just to hit on them real quick, like I said, your Facebook profile is where you need to start things and make sure that that is set up correctly. Most people aren't even aware, but if you click on somebody's cover image, the banner behind at the top of their profile, that is actually opens up. And in fact, let me just pop over here. I don't have I've got something else logged in, so it won't work. Apologize. I've got an ads manager of some ads I've been working on, and I'm logged in through one of my son's accounts. It would pull up his Facebook. Mine's pulled up behind that won't. Let me see if I can do it. It's on an incognito window. Let me see if this will see it if I shared the incognito. Nope. Shoot. Anyway, but what I was saying was if they click on it, it opens up a box to the right where you can put some copy in there and even a hyperlink to wherever you want to drive somebody. So at one point when I was, focused on my social media marketing business and working with realtors, I did have it set up to where people clicked on my profile by the things that it said, and even had a button to make, get people to click. It opened that up. And, it had like 3 lines of copy that, was compelling to get them to click the link, which then offered them this free ebook. And this free ebook gives you great strategies, 4 or 5 different strategies to use to generate leads, organic leads. So you're not paying anything, just the time that it takes you, and I'd suggest, you get in a habit, if that's what you're looking to do, spending an hour a day. People like to buy and work with people that they know, like, and trust. So when somebody spams me, I don't know them, and I sure as hell don't like them at that point, because it's a total turnoff to me. So as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest things, even though I have to admit I hate it, and I've learned a lot about the platforms and what they're really for, but that's a whole nother topic. And you can find on a different podcast I've got. If you're interested, you can find that on truthtalkwithsteve.com. But it's a powerful tools. If you use them right, you can really, really have a big impact. And if you really have, want to get out of your comfort zone, because this is uncomfortable with most people. Most people are uncomfortable being behind the camera, especially talking to nobody, or doing lives. Then you're talking to people, and that is something that's even a little uncomfortable for me still, even though I've done it in the past. But if you'll put yourself out there consistently through lives and or just video content, and provide value with your content, that's how you build an audience. These influencers are out there. They're not influencers because they didn't keep putting themselves out there. It's just like anything. It's consistency and authenticity with value. If you do those three things, you cannot lose in the social media marketing game. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Don't go out spamming people. Learn the techniques and the strategies that actually work. Because that dude is not the first guy. The second guy who just sent me that DM with just pitching me on leads for network marketers, he's probably just gone through, copying and pasting that into every single person he can. That is so ineffective. So he's wasting his time. Why not focus on, 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day, whatever you choose, to where you go in, you find the groups. That's something I can teach in another episode, how to check the groups based on how many people are in it, how many posts a day. You can find all that data out easily, when it was started, how many it's grown to, so you can see that it's still active. That's the key. No sense in going in some group where it's still and there's no engagement. You want to go where something's happening consistently so that you can consistently be seen. And there's ways to do things to where your comments and the things you do are shown. It's really called the social currency. You can call it Facebook currency, whatever you want, based on your engagement on a post, then pops it back to the top of that thread. So that's how you consistently get seen, which then makes people say, well, who is this person? I want to go check them out. And they go to your profile, set your profile up to where it's clear and concise about what you do. And, there's a whole strategy on what to post in your thread. So that's where people find out about you, where you can then make, bring up offers occasionally. You have to look at your profile newsfeed, just like it is a TV. On TV, out of an hour show, for example, you've got 20 minutes of commercials. So you figure 3 to 4 posts that have nothing to do with your business, and then your 4th or 5th post that talks about business. And that shouldn't be a post that is in your face by this. For example, if you're a realtor, it would maybe be a picture of you with somebody in front of a house and you're talking about that person and how you help them get into the home. That's drawing people to show them what you do. And if, like I said, if they like the way that you come across, the way your profile looks, things like that, where they feel, any sort of contact connections, so to speak, that's what will draw them into reaching out to you if they're looking to buy a home and don't have a realtor. So it's the same thing for any business. So like I said, it goes over this stuff in detail in that book. So go check that out if you want. And in fact, that's what I did when the guy spammed me. I actually just replied to him and told him, I was just honest, man, because that's the way I do things. And I just said, no, thank you. Why, you might ask, that doesn't make sense. I think that auto-corrected. I said, to be honest with you, my biggest pet peeve is basically what he did. I said, it might help you to learn the expert social media marketing strategies, and you can check them out for free by grabbing this free book, socialmediamarketingmethods.com. There's nothing in there that's going to pitch you to become a client of mine. So that's not why I responded. I'm truly trying to give him value for free, and I don't want anything from it. I don't expect to ever engage with him, and I don't want to, frankly. In the past, there's times, to be honest with you, where I used to be kind of a jackass and kind of rude about it. That's not cool. That doesn't benefit anybody. And so I try to respond in a way that says, hey, here's why this bothers me. But hey, if you're interested and want to really do this and have success, here's something that could really help you out. That's how you win in business, is providing value. That's it. People will exchange money for value, period. And especially when you over deliver and you give a lot of value up front before you ever ask. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope you have a fantastic day. If you're struggling, if what's going on in the world after the last 2 years with COVID and all the BS and fear they're pushing now to, talking World War III, which would be World War IV, but that anyways, don't buy into it, folks. Don't buy into it. Control what you can control. And you can control whether you buy into fear and continue to be held back. You can be like I was and let the past get in the way of your future because you were sitting playing the victim role or thinking it should be easier. Whatever the reason is, it's not easy, man. It's hard. But I'll help in any way I can. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying come and pay me for help. You can reach out to me in a DM, say you heard me on a podcast and you want to, you're stuck, you need help. If you're currently addicted or struggling with addiction, I'm glad to talk to you. No judgment at all. I've been there, man. I get it. It's a bitch. I used to drive to work some days crying, literally bawling my eyes out because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it's not easy. But the first thing you got to do is realize where you're at and that you don't want to keep going down that path and living like that anymore. Because not only are you truly unhappy, you're numb to what's going on. The wreckage you're creating by your loved ones and friends around you is way worse than you believe. And you deserve better, man. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have success. You deserve to know that you're loved. You deserve to know that you're a winner. You deserve to know that you matter. For those that aren't paying attention, don't know, there was over 100,000 fentanyl deaths last year. Fentanyl alone, okay? How many more overdoses were there not related to fentanyl, just other opiates? We have a crisis. That's the true pandemic, not the BS they've been feeding us. If you're struggling, man, get on your knees. If that's uncomfortable for you, just sitting, whatever, laying in bed. Whether you believe in a higher power, God, whatever it is, I'm telling you, pour out your heart and ask for help. Because I don't care what you believe or not. I can tell you that Jesus Christ is always there. He will never leave your side. But you got to ask. I've been down that road. I still struggle, even though it's very important to me to pray all the time and consistently the way I want to. That's something that's a big priority for me this year. So I'm telling you that because I don't want to be a hypocrite. But the times that I have been in deep shit with addiction, and then being told by my attorney I had to plead guilty in my federal case. And then when I was in prison 3 weeks in, my wife told me on the phone that when I asked her, do you even care about us? She said, I don't have time to worry about us. There's 2 times that I've never, ever prayed like those. So if you'll humble yourself enough, he'll hear you. And whether the thought, the idea, whatever the feeling comes to you to know what the next step should be, or a person's put in your life that can help you, whatever it is, don't let fear hold you back from going to others who love you to tell them where you're at and you've had enough. Even if the relationships have been fractured, if you'll go to them humbly to where they see it, that you truly mean it, I guarantee you, there's very few that wouldn't help you that are truly your loved ones or close friends. even if you've done some things that have fractured that relationship at times. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Stay strong. We're living in a crazy world right now. It's going to get a whole hell of a lot worse, I believe, for a while. But we will get through it, and it will be better on the other side. But because of the BS that's going on, that's huge triggers to a lot of people to start doing things that they maybe did in the past, or to keep doing what they're doing, because we want to, avoid the pain and the stress that's created, whether it be lack of job, lack of money, lack of whatever, cost of gas, whatever it is. Don't buy into the fear, and be aware of the self-talk that goes on in your head, and shut it down when it's negative. That'll be another topic we'll talk about, is mindset. Anyway, I continue to ramble on because I could talk about all these things for hours and hours, because, it matters to me. It matters because I've been in the shoes of many people who've struggled with addiction. And it's a bitch. And it's tough as hell to get out of. I'll be praying for you, those of you that are listeners out there, and I hope you'll tune in again. And if you haven't done so, if you've got Apple Podcasts, if you'd go on there and write a 5-star review. I mean, just write something. It could even be one word, folks. That's just what triggers the algorithm to help push the podcast up, so that people listening to other podcasts with similar audiences, whether it's entrepreneurship, addiction, it'll be shown and suggested to them to help us get more followers, so we can have more people know that there is life after addiction and indictment. Have a fantastic day. And if you want to, visit my website, lifeafteraddiction.com as well. We'll talk to you next time.